Yes, yes, I
Uh-huh.
can.
Well,
So can we move to next slide, please?
number
Because
one.
I cannot move.
Следующий.
Okay. I think we are in a slide 3 now.
Следующий.
Okay.
Мгм.
Yes.
Мгм.
Okay. Thank you for sharing the slides. As you can see, we have three different categories to define digital leadership and the places we need this competency. The first one is where we use analytics or digital technologies to make decisions in organization. The second category is about the leaders who are leading digital organizations. We know we are facing some new phases of organizations which are digital organizations,
Очень.
and we are going to have this concept of digital leadership in them. But the most common field that we need to work with digital leadership concept is the third category. When leaders want to lead the digital transformation process, when they want to transform the current organizations to some new organizations. So this is the main idea of digital leadership, and many of us need digital leadership competencies in this third category when we want to transform our organization to a new phase. So can we move to next slide? Thank you. And as you can see here, we have three different perspectives about digital leadership. You already have them in the slides on your screens. The first thing is when we assume digital leadership as a role in organizations, when they want to be networkers, catalyzers of some change, or making innovations, or some insider experts about digital innovations, and or innovation evangelists. As you can see, when we assume them as roles, this is something that we already have in our organization. The second category is when we assume digital leadership as a skill set, a set of competencies and skills. And again, as you can see, having the communication skill, visioning, digital literacy, innovation, risk-taking, talent spotting, change management. And again, you can see we already have all these factors in previous perspectives of the leaders. But the new thing is the third category. This is another definition of digital leadership when we look at this concept as a new culture in our organizations. So when we have this digital leadership as a culture, we need to increase the participation using digital tools. We need to provide directions, clarity, and purpose using those tools. And also, we need to provide some opportunities for our organizations to perform better. So this culture is the main thing we discuss about digital leadership. And now, as you can see on the screens now, if you want to know how these digital leaders innovate in organizations, how they change the culture to some more innovative and digital based culture, you easily can see by adding some new RI 4.0 tools in organizations, in developing some digital roadmaps. If you're familiar to the concept of digital transformation, you may know that it starts with some digital visioning, digital roadmaps, some talent planning, and also some change plans and innovations in organizations. So another thing I wanted to share with you is about how they have this human-based approach in their organizations and decision makings. And as you can see, we easily can have the innovation-focused experience not only in products, but also in our approach in the organization. So let me move to next slide. Can we move to next slide, please? Okay, and here, as you can see, when we want to see what are the innovation styles that these digital leaders use, these are some examples of them. Of course, the list is much more longer, but we easily can see that if we follow participative innovation, open and network innovation, disruptive innovations, or agile innovative digital teams, or co-innovation, which is a very emerging topic, using innovations for social context, experience-based innovation, and finally, innovation based on collective awareness, which is another new and emerging field of innovation in organization. So these are the ways that digital leaders try to innovate in organizations. So can we move to next slide, please? Thank you. So as you can see, when we want to discuss about digital innovation, these are the future factors that we need to have some plans about. The first thing which we need to think about is the Industrial Revolution 4.0. We need to think about social integration and diversity. We need to have some ideas about circular economy. We need to know what is the future or futures of work or workplaces. What is the definition of talent flow and how we can decide about the talent flow in our organizations. The social impact analysis is an emerging field that we need to think about if we want to have this leadership in digital uh, organizations in digital era. We need to be transparent and follow the new approaches of innovation. I shared with you some of them in previous slide. We need to be value driven and also we need to be data driven. And this is where these analytic tools come to practice in our organizations. And finally, my last slide, if we can move to the next slide, is that usually innovations start with some stories about the future. And same goes for digital leaderships. And when we want to enter this digital transformation journey in our organizations, we need to be good storytellers. We need to have a story for our organization. Only after having this story, we can move towards a successful implementation of this new an emerging style of leadership in our organizations. Okay, I think we can move to next slide, and that was everything I wanted to share with you. If you have any questions, you can ask using your microphones or using the chat box, and you also can see my email addresses here. Later, I will share my email addresses in the chat box, so you will have access to them. Now, I think I pass the floor back to Olga, and we can hear the questions. Thank you.
You have vividly shown us tight connection between digital leadership and innovation, drawing impressive prospects to digital leadership. I think there will be a lot of questions, but we'll have question and answer session at the end of our discussion. So, and now, ladies and gentlemen, as the main speaker mentioned in his presentation, digital leaders innovate by adding new digital technologies. So it would be interesting for us to pay attention to current problems of digital technologies. And this is the title of our second presentation given by Mikhail Vyshensky, Associate Professor, Plekhanov Russian University of Economics, PEM branch. Mikhail, please.
Thanks for you. Dear colleagues, dear students, first of all, I want to graduate my colleague Vadim Ilyin, with whose information I can speak today, and my graduates for Alexander Vahrin, our student who make beautiful design of our slides. I want to say about digital problems which are developed with digital innovations. And so problems of implementing digital innovations in modern Russian companies and government. Today, presentation, please.
Presentation.
Yes, no.
А где Вышинский? Где Вышинский? Вышинский-то вот все был раньше.
Админ. Today, the transition of a digital economy is one of the main priorities of Russia's development, because it is at the level of digitalization that will show the country's competitiveness in the new technological world. Therefore, in order for our country to reach a new level of economic and social development.
Следующий слайд.
Oh, no, thanks. We need our own scientific solutions and advances developments. The following new technologies which are already being implemented in the world have a great potential for development, ensuring the strategic development of national economics. Next slide. Yes. For example, platform companies, the basic link of a new economy, providing the technological ability to implement value proposition for the client based on the use of open source solutions, machine learning, cloud technologies with a given level of security. New industrial technologies for Industry 4.0, enhanced integration into the factory process of physical systems, new logistics based on the standard infrastructure solutions, for example, Uber, car sharing, and so on. Smart contracts, the ability to simplify and increase the reliability of B2B or B2G transactions. Digital money and new financial technologies that ensure the formation of two-level banking systems, digitalization of information and linking into completing systems, and so on. Russia is trying to allocate more resources on the development of digital infrastructure, but this development is hindered by certain problems. Many of them are solved by our own domestic developments. For example, on these slides, you can see opinions for solving some of their contradictions. For example, security. Many well-known large global companies, governments, agencies have faced this problem. They have become victims of cyber attacks. It is always necessary to be vigilant, to improve our security as IP, personal data, and finance, and always under threat. And in general, security should be built directly into all applications. And so information security experts say that information technology can work in two directions. If something is protected, then it is also hacked. And here, the using of digital identity and its secure have come to the fore. Next slide. For example, law readers of the state and business, low readiness for changes and new technologies from the manager of the final performer, risk of manipulation and misconceptions. Next slide, please. Cultural charges, general gap, digital slavery, negative and destruction content, individualization and psychological deformations. They need to be taken into account, especially in the younger generation. Next slide, please. And so the role of, excuse me, yes, sir? Yes, and the role of university is solving the problems of digital technology. So this problem is solving by our university, all Plekhanovka, and by our PEM branch too. Thanks a lot. Any questions?
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you, Mikhail, very much. So for your so profound presentation. And Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have representatives from different countries. And that will bring us to our next speaker today. This is Irina Kuzminchuk, senior lecturer, Plekhanov Russian University of Economics, Minsk branch. She will speak about creative economy, its features and sources. Irina, you're welcome.
Yes, good morning, dear colleagues. Can I share my screen?
Please.
Can I share my screen?
Yes, of course, now.
Выводи ее на экран.
Okay.
Irina, will you show your presentation yourself?
Yes, can you see it now?
All right.
Can you see it? Sorry.
Everything is okay, please.
Okay, so can you see the presentation, right?
Of course.
Yeah. Okay, good. Thank you. So today I will gonna speak about creative economy, its features and sources. Globalization and knowledge economy have created the prerequisites for the emergence and development of the so-called creative economy based on the creative potential of a person, the skills and talents which are based on a modern technological platform and knowledge base, and as a result are able to make a significant contribution to the acceleration of economic growth. Nowadays, creative economy of ideas is one of the engines of economic growth. The development in it is growing every year. The concept of the creative economy is far from an ambiguous phenomenon in the life of modern humanity. Therefore, the definition of this concept varies from city to city, from country to country, depending on the level of development, readiness for change, resources, and so on. The historical origin of the term creative economy began in 2001 in the work of John Hawkins on the relationship between creativity and the economy. At the heart of the concept is creative class, people who produce new things or work directly in creative industries. According to Irati, some cultures contribute to creativity more than others. They are called creativogenic. They also identified several socio-cultural factors of the creativogenic society, such as availability of cultural means and resources, the desire of the members of society for high achievements, free access to cultural media, freedom of thought and action, and tolerance of different opinions. Creative economy is based on an innovative but at the same time creative approach. Any innovation is creative. In fact, creative thinking allows the creation of new innovations, but also doesn't reject all refined solutions with the introduction of creative changes in them. The main difference is in human capital. In innovative economy, it is people who focused on the study of science, while in creative economy, the people who value freedom of action and creativity. The main features of creative economy, which have a practical orientation, are creative thinking and creative design, the high role of new technologies and discoveries in various fields of human activity, a large amount of existing knowledge and the urgent need to generate new knowledge. The key role is played not by the information, but by creative people who generate new ideas and bring them to life. That's the key factor of the economy. I'm sorry, there is some problem with the screen. Oh, it's okay now. Excuse me. So the key role is played not by the information, but by creative people who generate new ideas and bring them to life. Thus, the key factor of the knowledge economy is education and intellectual product. The innovation economy focuses on the use of this knowledge, and the creative economy is aimed at providing conditions for generating ideas and means of transforming the proposed creative ideas into a qualitatively new product. The degree of creative economy development in countries is determined by the cost of research and development works. Developed countries, which are increasingly aware of the importance of creative sector for future economic development, create favorable conditions for the development of people's creative potential, for the support of creative industries and the protection of intellectual property rights. Many researchers note that creative economy does not receive development in backward regions and countries due to a number of objective circumstances. Nevertheless, I share the opinion of those scientists who believe that both countries with transition economies and developing countries can successfully develop a creative economy, focusing on creating conditions for the creative class to operate. The role of the state in the development of the creative economy is one of the central and determining in creating favorable economic and political conditions. Of great importance for the formation of the market of innovative ideas is the provision of legal certainty, the protection of producers of intellectual property, which also belong to the sphere of influence of a state. Here it is worth emphasizing that the main driver of the creative economy is free competition. According to the researchers, the presence of an uncorrupted environment is a guarantee that a modern creative worker will be able to find a place in it for application of their talents. Otherwise, there is a brain drain and an outflow of creative workers to other geographical regions. Based on intellectual labor, creative economy is one of the types of socio-economic development of a country. It can contribute to the transition to renewable fuel sources, increasing the efficiency of production as well as the quality of life of the population. The result of creative economy should be acquitted from their dependence on raw materials, and to do this, governments develop a strategy for the development of creative economy. In conclusion, I would like to say that it's necessary to think about what goals we use the creativity for. It contains a great value that cannot be wasted and a powerful force that can only be used by carefully weighing all the possible consequences. As Richard Florida widely instructs in his book, The Creative Class, The People Who Change the Future, the question to ask is, what do we want to achieve? As in the previous centuries, scientific and technological creativity has given us not only excellent inventions, but also terrible weapons. So what kind of life, what kind of society do we want to leave to our future generations? The creative class must finally realize its importance as well as the fact of its own existence. The task of building a truly creative society is not a solitary game for a single person. This is a game we play as a team. Of course, creativity is not an absolute good, but a human ability that can be used for the development of the economic power and resources with which we can make the world a better place. I share the opinion of Michio Kaku, an active popularizer of science, that said that to achieve real success, you need to develop those abilities that are not available to robots: creativity, imagination, initiative, leadership qualities. Those countries that are able to balance commodity markets and cognitive creative potential are much more likely to succeed. In my opinion, creative economy in the near future will become the basis of economic superiority of a country as a whole. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you, Irina, a lot for sharing your ideas with the audience. So, creative economy is without doubt young but rapidly developing science, which is becoming more and more complex. Our next speaker today, Simon Iskandjan, Associate Professor, Plekhanov Russian University of Economics, Yerevan branch, will tell us about creative economics as a symbiosis of digital technologies, economics, and culture. Simon, please take the floor.
Yeah, good day, everyone. Dear colleagues, thank you a lot for your attention. Thank you for the possibility to present our vision and our views via discussing these issues. And exactly thanks to the Prime Branch for these very important discussions. I would like to discuss the creative economics. Creative economics as a symbiosis of digital technologies, economics, and culture. As we know nowadays, related to creativity, art, intellectual property, and digital technology are inclusively called the main drivers of our world, of our economy. The creative economy, creative industries are terms that have become widespread today, both in the scientific and practical environment. We need to talk about not only just creative economy for government, but also not only for the national economy, but also for regional economy, for world economy, for international markets. The creative industry includes such sectors as design and the fashion industries, IT and game industries, music and art, and also our life, just our life, human life. Experts say that the main commodity of the future will not be the commodity itself as a physical object and not a smart economy, but it will be an economy of emotions. In this regard, our economy is transforming very fast. It is transforming via emotions economy. The correct, personalized presentation, advertising, and public relays of the product, of the company, of the services becomes much more important than the product or service itself. The rate of development of the creative industry is significantly higher than the rate of development of traditional industry and other industries, even during the economic downturn. The value of the global creative sector grown by 40% just last year. But we need to emphasize that the Great Britain is the first country in which a program to support the creative industry has been implemented as a priority area of state policy. The development of creative industry in Europe is also actively supported at the state level. The United Kingdom Department of Culture classified the creative economy as industry that based on the creation and use of intellectual property, namely advertising, architecture, crafts, cinematography, and like this. But in other words, the creative sector today is not only about entertainment content. The symbiosis of creativity and innovation, it is the basis of creative industry, whose economic performance must be ensured by industry digital platforms. For example, VR or ER technologies are widely used. The digital technologies, the artificial intelligence, the possibility to predict customer behaviors and also human life are widespread in our world. Projects developed using the technologies are used in various fields and are not limited to the console games. Today's education about virtual tours cannot be imagined without VR and ER content. The culture, the travel, the museums, and our various the people lives can be more easy. They can be more interesting using when we are using digital technologies. We need to note that the creative industry requires a specific environment. First of all, we are talking about the territory where people work together and where projects arise through creative interactions. Therefore, today the creative industry lies in clusters that provide a supplementary of cultures, creative and IT businesses. Creative technologies are important not only for the government or for international relationships and exactly economic relationships, but also it is very important for businesses and it is very important for just population, for just human, just customers. However, there are a number of directly opposite examples where creative clusters is strongly integrated into the traditional economy and is commercially successful projects. In our country, in Armenia, the contribution of creative industry to the Armenian GDP is around 25%, but does not match the human resource possibilities. It is not enough, and we're not satisfied with these results. And both the government, both the businesses and education organizations like our branch are doing everything to change the situation. And we are highly interested to develop creative technologies and creative industries and creative economies. For example, In our country, we have a lot of successful organizations working not only in Armenia, but also in the world IT markets. For example, in last year, one of our companies named Titan has increased his capital around $5 trillion. It's located in Yerevan and also in San Francisco. What they are doing? They are offering various cloud-based software platforms that helps home service companies streamline operations, improve customer services, like it could be home security, it could be air condition, or just electricity. They are offering the technologies can be used various home service organizations to control customers' behavior, household controls via offline format. They not need to visit customers to resolve some issues. They are doing all this via offline format. It is very interesting. It is, I think, very important in our common world. So, in conclusion, I would like to note that human activity is not being greatly transformed. A lot is being automated. Many professions are under threat of extinctions. A human can compete with robots and artificial intelligence and digital technologies only in the fight of creativity. As a result, we will live in the industries where we can be replaced by machines, and more came into the fight of creativity. And perhaps in 10 years from now, the creative economy will be one of the islands still accessible to humans. This is it, dear colleagues, dear participants. Thank you a lot for your attention. I hope the meeting like this will be long, and next time it will be possible to meet via offline format in our universities, and we'll discuss this problem in our branch. Thank you, dear colleagues.
Thank you, Simon, very much. Especially thanks for your invitation, and thank you for your report on such a complicated issue. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that next two reports will inspire ideas and discussions around the ways we can make our cities better places. I would like to give the floor to Tatiana Igorushkina, Associate Professor, Head of Department of Finance and Management, Plekhanov Russian University of Economics, Tula branch. Well, the title of her report is Key Tracks of Transformation of Economic Systems in the Framework of the Implementation of the Smart City Concept in the Context of Digitalization. Well, Tatiana, take the floor, please.
Good afternoon, dear colleagues. The topic of our today's meeting is very important in the period of digitalization of society. We are glad to present you the result of our research. The city has always been a center of economic activity, concentering the function of the production of goods and serves their consumption, exchange, and distribution. In modern conditions, the level of development of the urban environment is determined not only by the availability of material resource and infrastructure, but also depend on innovative technologies that make cities smart in almost all areas, from transport to healthcare, from education for housing and utility sector. In 2017, Russia adopted a state program Digital Economy, which including the product Smart City, the integration of information technology and the Internet of Things for the management of urban property, transport, electricity, other public should become smart by 2024. Among the smartest cities in Europe and Barcelona, Amsterdam, and others, Moscow is also developing the concept of smart city. Two programs have already been completed in Russia capital, Electronic Moscow and Information City. Product for the implementation of the intelligence system in the field of security insisted enable management of urban utility were implemented in St. Petersburg and Tomsk in a number of cities such as Podolsk, Novy Urengoy, for the developer to implement. Now in Russia, the so-called greenfield products are being developed at the level which are infrastructure platform for smart cities. Such products include Innopolis in the Republic of Tatarstan, Smart City Kazan, Akademический, Skolkovo, Innograd, Yuzhny, and St. Petersburg, and others. The presented list of the implementation of the elements of smart city concept in the Russia region show that there is a direct relationship between the economic potential of the area, the high level of budget security, and the effectiveness of the implementation of such products. The main economic trend of the measures under consideration is to achieve the most effective management of resources and to provision of resources for the aim of creating more comfortable living condition, maximization to growth of business activity, current and future generation. The competitiveness of a successful development of the future city depends on its ability of transform. That is to attract and effectively use various resources for its further modernization in order to create new jobs and the most comfortable conditions for life and self-realization of citizens. The analysis lets us to suggest the following economic strengths of transformation of the economic system into a smart city, implemented different stages of such transformation. At the first stage of transformation, let's call in functional the development of long-term investment strategies at all levels of economic management should be considered the leading direction. Six such strategies are one, the determining factors for the successful and effective development of a smart city. The next trend of the first stage is the formation of demand and supply of an innovation, which is due to a number of factors, the main of which is a dramatic reduction of the financial resources for investment. The second stage in the implementation of the concept of smart city, let's call it providing in connected first of all with development of electronic services and services in the financial sector, retail and tourism. The advantage of such services is the reduction of time for processing payments and document, the ability to obtain information online. The third state can be called as the electronic economic, that is the environment creative of the basis of the use of digital telecommunication networks and performing the function of electronic goods and services produced by electronic business and e-commerce. In practically the e-state and the e-government creative share of the e-tech economy by introduce e-service and products to citizens. Thus, the implementation of smart city concept is a possibility only from the point of view a systematical approach that is from consideration of the integral trend of activity of subject to achieve a common aim to improve their quality of life to urban residents and achieve their sustainable functioning. Solving the task of transformation of ordinary cities into smart cities requires attracting significant resources for a largest scale modernization, innovation in order to create new jobs, the most comfortable living conditions, and self-realization of citizens. And as a result, it will lead to get economic, financial, budgetary, infrastructure, and social effects. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you very much for deep analysis of this concept. Speaking about smart city concept, it is very important to study the practical experience of projects that have already been launched. Our next co-speaker, Irina Kostyuk, from Sevastopol branch of Plekhanov Russian University of Economics. She is a first-year student, and she will give a presentation of Smart City project in Crimea.
Hello, everyone. The Sevastopol branch is greeting you. Is it clear?
Yeah. Well, Irina, do you need your presentation?
Yes.
Well, we have prepared it, so share your slides, please.
Okay.
Well,
our topic today is Smart City project in Crimea. Nowadays, global digitalization affects all spheres of our life and plays an important role in the development of society. Many national economic development projects in digital sphere have been implemented in Russia. One of them is Smart City project. It was launched in 2018, and since 2019, it has been implemented as part of Digital Economy National Program and the Housing and Urban Environment National Project. Smart City is aimed at improving the competitiveness of Russian cities, establishing an effective urban management system, creating safe, secure, high-quality living environment. It is based on 5 key principles. First of all, human orientation. Second, urban infrastructure technology efficiency. Then improving the quality of urban resources management, creating comfortable and safe environment, and improving economic efficiency. Electronic system without human intervention will collect and analyze data and regulate, for example, the street lighting, intersection throughput, video surveillance. Cameras will automatically record traffic violations. The Ministry of Construction, Housing and Utilities of Russia has presented the Urban Economic Digitalization Index, in other words, IQ cities. This index was created during the implementation of Smart City project. It is calculated in 10 main areas. Urban, like you can see on the slides, urban management, smart housing and communal services, urban environment innovation, smart urban transportation, public and environmental safety intelligence system, tourism services, social services intelligence system, economic status and investment climate, and etc. Sevastopol, Kerch, Simferopol and Yalta have become pilot sites for the Smart City project. Representatives of the municipal councils have signed the agreement with the Ministry of Construction, Housing and Utilities of Russia in the 5th Yalta International Economic Forum. The intelligent video surveillance and street lighting system have already been implemented in Crimea towns. Bollards have been installed at the entrance of embankment, parks and squares within the Smart City pilot project. Electronic document management system and municipal property accounting system are currently being used in municipalities. Expansion of the municipal information system, for example, Yalta city security system, as well as modernization of the automatic street lighting control system, replacement of obsolete lighting with modern LED lamps, implementation of the automatic energy accounting system, Wi-Fi networking and public places, creation automated parking system and archival materials digitalization are planned to be done in the near future. Like you can see on the slide, this is comparison between the first and the second year of introduction project in the Crimean cities. There is no doubt in certain positive dynamics. To sum up, it is no wonder that project's benefits can be colossal, but the main difficulties for their implementation are the lack of common data collection and analysis system. Now information is collected heterogeneous devices like navigators, smartphones, information retrieval system, and it is not clear how to apply and synchronize it when working with one digital platform. The second problem is the lack of the required capacity. The smart cities development requires considerable cost. Modern equipment and up-to-date servers are needed to store big data. However, scientists are confident that progress will inevitably lead to the fact that smart settlements will become a common trend. Thanks for your attention.
Thanks, Irina. Thanks a lot for sharing such an interesting example of smart city concept. And digital technologies in creative economy bring unique challenges we are facing as we are trying to stay adaptable and responsive to complex topics and new situations. And one of the challenges is how to teach digital economy and what to teach. So I would like to give the floor to Yulia Yermakova, Associate Professor, Plekhanov Russian University of Economics, Krasnodar branch, who will give a presentation on this topic.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Can you hear me well?
Very well.
Yes. Show my presentation. Thanks. Digitalization is a part of our life today. We have to accept the fact that it is all areas: political, economic, social, and cultural. Education isn't an exception. Let's get it straight. It can't be stopped, and we can't change this situation, whether we like it or not. There are a lot of discussions about advantages and disadvantages of distance learning and integration of information technologies into education process. Next slide, please. Let's figure out what advantages we get from this and what and how to teach. I'm sorry, previous. Yes, thank you. For starters, let's define the term digitalization. Speed changes in the world take place very quickly. It takes only 5 to 10 years today, what previously took 100 years. World unstable, fragile, transparent, that brings about value changes. Digital world or artificial intelligence lives its own life. Manual work is being replaced with mechanical devices. But what is left for us? What would we do with all this time on our hands? Problem we have to deal with. Mankind comes to measure time and space in nanoseconds and nanometers. However, this speed is good for artificial intelligence only. People can't live at this speed. We are not able to compete with artificial intelligence in processing of documents, completing tables and reports. So we must develop our other strong sides that we haven't artificial don't. Creativity, critical thinking. Our brain isn't a set of operation. To get an edge over artificial intelligence, we have to walk away from standard thinking, carrying out monotonous work. Innovations, art, classical literature, that is what really matters in education today. Many scientists used this method. Albert Einstein, for example, played the violin. Lewis Carroll was a professor for mathematics at Oxford University and gave lectures. Alexander Fleming, who discovered penicillin, set a new direction in art, microbial art. Children have to get used to living in constantly changing environment. They have to adapt themselves to dynamic world. Unstable environment is a new reality, and there is nothing to be done. Next, yes, thank you. New types of school in Finland might be looked upon as a good example. There, the color of the wall, ceilings, and form of the room is changed several times a week. In the digital era, kids use computers more often than books. So be it. We see shifts in values these days, and a lot of people don't consider professional knowledge is a priority. They think that you can set up and run business without it. Yes, they can, but there is a concern about the quality. I want to refer to neuroscientists and neurolinguists who proved that education has positive effects on the brain. Setting difficult tasks helps improve brain performance. Neural network, white and gray matter work much better. The process of education therefore gets better. Ongoing surveys about distant education revealed that it's easier for children to study this way. They get good marks, but not high quality knowledge. A lot of children suffer from a lack of communication with their classmates and teachers. At the same time, there is great opportunity for them to tap the full potential of world libraries going online. They can ask any questions to scientists from different disciplines and from anywhere in the world. They can get any information with one click. There is so much information and it changes so quickly that it becomes another problem. It's important to teach the children to find reliable sources and use I'm sorry, I'm nervous, relevant and validate data. Downloaded books and video courses don't make us clever. We need to pick good, correct information. To sum up, next slide, please. Yes, thanks. To sum up, we can say that the best approach in education is convergent education. Education aimed at perception of the world as a whole rather than learning separate disciplines. What does it include? Comprehension rather than memorization. Resilience training to constantly changing world. Building skills in verification of information. Building skills to live in digital world and remain human. All of these can be applied to higher education. Proceeding from it is recommended to introduce more disciplines related to modern technologies at the legislative level. These skills can be used by children in professional life. Teachers in their turn, should keep close contact with students, listen to their needs. This communication difference people from machines. We have to load good information into our memory. Using creative approach, we will make our brain think outside the box. Learning foreign languages and reading can jog our memory. Artificial intelligence can recognize color, form, but it can't understand the artist or author's idea. Thanks for attention.
Thank you, Yulia, very much for so bright and inspiring presentation of a born teacher. That was the teacher's point of view on the subject. But what about the students? They say the younger the person, the more responsive he is to everything new and unusual. I would like to ask my student, Alexander Vakhrin, fourth-year student of Plekhanov Russian University of Economics, PEM branch. I would like to ask him what he thinks about advantages and disadvantages, if there are any, of digital economy. Alexander,
Hello.
well, you're welcome. Glad to see you. Alexander, what about the presentation? Do you need the slides or you can show?
I start to share it. Do you see it? Do you see presentation?
Yeah, all right, good. We are listening to you.
I am Alexander Vakhrin. I am a student of Plekhanov Russian University of Economics, PEM branch. Today, I will tell you about advantages and disadvantages of digital economy. Digital economy has a lot of advantages and disadvantages. I will try to signal out main of them. Firstly, I will tell you about advantages. The first advantage is time economy. I think this is most important advantage of digital economy. I signal it out because it affects all of us. You can see average commute time to work in Europe based on Eurostat data. About half of Europeans takes about 30 minutes to commute to work. They also need to go home after work. Because of that, the time may be doubled to calculate how much time they spend to commute to work and back to home. Digital economy lets some people work on distance, saving about an hour of their time a day. And they may spend it doing whatever they want. Digital economy also saving our time when we want to buy something. Now we don't need to go directly to shop trying to find something. We may just order it by internet and save a lot of time. The second advantage is business digitalization. Here we can see business digitalization of some countries in percent. The advantage affects the whole country from government to citizen. Business digitalization increasing gross domestic product by increasing business profit and also affect workers, increasing their salary. I already described the most important advantages in my opinion. Now I would like to tell you about disadvantages of digital economy. With development of digital economy, we also see the development of cybercrime. We can see the total cost of data breach by country or region in United States dollars millions for 2020 year. The whole world lost $58.6 million by cybercrimes only for 2020. And that amount will be increased in future because hackers developing something new almost every day. The next disadvantage which I want to describe is gaming problem. Today about 3.1 billion people playing computer games. Most of that people don't have any problem with that. But we also have some gamers that playing too much and missing something. On the slide, we can see data for some countries that show us what gamers missing when they're playing games. We can see that a lot of gamers may miss sleep, which could become a global problem with healthness of people and will affect the whole world. Important to add that some young gamers without any control may just spend all their time in computer games and totally go to virtual world. Well, today I told you about main advantages and disadvantages of digital economy in my opinion. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Alexander, very much. It was very interesting to know the students' point of view on this subject. I wish you good health, Sasha. Well,
Thank you.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to proceed to our last presentation, to be given by Artyom Yurchenko, third-year student, Plekhanov Russian University of Economics, Krasnodar branch. The topic of his presentation is influence of coronavirus on the development of digitalization. Well, Artyom, you're welcome.
У него есть презентация?
Не знаю.
Well, hello everybody. Thank you for such an opportunity. One moment. Can you see the presentation?
Yeah. Yes, we can.
All right, so my topic is the impact of COVID-19 on the digital transformation of business. So today I will tell you how coronavirus actually affected the digital transformation, how he became sort of catalyzer of quite a lot of processes. So to stay competitive in this business and economic environment requires new strategies and practices. Customer centricity is about more than just commerce. It means building the business model from the marketplace back, aligning the front, middle, and back office to deliver a seamless percent of customer. Another study found that about 35% of customer experience-focused companies plan to adopt commerce everywhere business models by 2022. The pandemic has also focused minds on employees' well-being and values. An exceptional customer experience can only be delivered by people who believe in their organizational purpose. Not every business is ready to do this, with progress held back by aging infrastructure, inflexible human resources, lack of clear purpose, and fragmented approach to managing different functions. Digitally transformed firms will likely have the edge in the COVID-19 recovery phase. They can respond with greater agility to customer, employee, and supplier needs because their decisions are informed by data, while automation helps them scale faster. Across sectors, the results suggest that rates for developing digital products during the pandemic differ. Given the time frames for making manufacturing changes, the difference, not surprisingly, are more apparent between sectors with and without physical products and between B2B and B2C companies. Yet the speed with which respondents say their companies have responded to a range of COVID-19 related changes is remarkably even greater than their digitalization across the business. For many of these changes, representatives of different industries say their companies acted 20 to 25 times faster than expected. In the case of remote working, for instance, respondents actually say their companies moved 40 times more quickly than they thought possibly before the pandemic. Before then, representatives of different industries say it would have taken more than a year to implement the level that took place during the crisis. In actuality, it took an average of 11 days to implement a workable solution for COVID-19 environment. So as a conclusion, I would like to give you some tips, some actions that we can take right now, no matter if we are managers or even business owners. So the first one, of course, is resilience. This is a complex thing. We need to consider the technologies that can get us closer to our customer and help us manage a constant heightened risk environment particularly cybersecurity. The second one is ways of working. Focus on the capabilities we need in a future connected enterprise and plan how to access these resources via permanent gig economy or other partnerships. The third one is digital acceleration. If we are digitally transforming at pace, the chances are very high that we will be finally left behind. The next one is customer focusing. Put our customers first at the heart of strategy. Become insight-driven, know your customers at a deep and profound level. And finally, the last but not least is operations and supply chain. Invest in real-time predictive models, rethink the roles of each player in the supply chain, and introduce a more collaborative relationship with suppliers. So that's it. Thank you for your attention.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Artyom, very much for your presentation and especially for your tips for all of us. And so all speakers have done their reports, and now we are ready to start question and answer session. Well, and I would like to say that the first question will be from a student of Prem branch, Plekhanov Russian University. This is Danila Bogdanov. And well, he is eager to ask a question to Yishar Salamzadeh. Can we see Danila now?
Yes. Dr. Isha, can you hear me? Dr.
Yes,
Isha?
yes.
Okay.
Yes, I can.
So I'm very impressed by your presentation and have a question for you. How developed is digital leadership in your country, Malaysia, by your opinion?
Okay. In fact, the situation of digital leadership is very different in different countries. So in order to share a very good and reliable output, I need to share that there are some companies, some management and business consultancy companies that they have done some studies in different countries. And in fact, in Malaysia, the output of the research, which was published on, I think, December 2019. So it's more than 1 year ago, one year and a half ago. So they shared that the skills and competencies of digital leadership are good in Malaysia, but the main problem is about their readiness to change and the mindset of the current generation of business managers in Malaysia. So this was the main obstacle of digital leadership in Malaysia. But I am sure in different countries we have different situations. I remember in some countries the infrastructure, the legal infrastructure were the main issue. In some of them, the technology was the main issue. But a majority of the countries, as far as I remember, had difficulties about the mindset of their business people, the managers.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Well, any questions? Well, all the participants are welcome to ask questions. You can ask your questions in chat or, well, orally. Well, I can see that Mikhail Bashens. Well, here is one more question from a student of PM branch, Plekhanov Russian University, Romanenko Stepan. Well, the question is the following. What country, the question is to Irina Kuzminchuk. What country is the leader in creative economy to your mind? Irina Kuzminchuk, are you ready to answer, please?
Yes, I will try to answer. So as I have already mentioned, the developed countries are the leaders in creative economy, while developing countries and countries with transition economy, they are main consumers of the production of creative economy, ideas and products. So I suppose that such countries as the USA, China and Japan are leaders in it. But I hope that our countries will also develop this dimension and develop creative economy and will soon become the leaders.
Maybe somebody else would like to answer this very question. Some addition from Mikhail Vashensky, PEM branch.
Thanks. As for me, I think that China, one is leaders in digital development for temps, for speed of this development. And so I think China is a leader.
So, well, so, and the next question, I see that Mikhail Vashensky not only answers, but would like to ask question.
Yes, my question may be for all lectures. What is the role of material production in creative economy?
Назовите конкретно. Maybe to
Isha, what do you think about material production in creative economy?
Great.
Can you repeat the question, please?
To hear from you at first, what you think about the role of material production in creative economy.
Okay, in fact, when we discuss about creative economic, the core is about the creativity itself. So the creativity can have different categories, and one of the most common categories we have in creativity is about creativity on products and services, creativity on the impact, and also creativity on administration. On administration, it's easy. The IR 4.0 tools can help us. And also on the impact, we need to see the impact. But the main part of the products of the creativity-based products is the output of the unicorns and the digital startups in the business environment. So almost all the products and services they produce can be counted as a kind of creative product in the business environment.
There is one more question from a student of PEM branch. Kuchukova Liana would like to ask Yashar, well, what competencies specialists need to develop while moving to the digital economy? Yashar, please.
Okay, thank you. In fact, when we discuss about the competencies needed, I think as it was shared by one of the other presenters of today, we need to concentrate on the competencies that are not easy to mimic and repeat by the artificial intelligence. Many of the competencies we have can be copied by them and can be done by artificial intelligence, by robots, and also the other IR 4.2 tools, like, for example, the big data analysis, the predictive analysis, as it was shared, the Internet of Things. So we need to concentrate on the competences which are more humane. And if I want to share something interesting with you, I was reading an article about 2 weeks ago. It was shared that about 75% of the students who are now in primary schools will work in the jobs that do not exist now. So it is a very huge change. So in 10 years, 75% of the jobs will be new jobs, the jobs that do not exist right now. So we need to work more on the competencies that are not copyable but by these technologies. One of them is creativity, as it was shared. The cultural intelligence is one of them. The emotional intelligence is one of them. Being able to manage the diversity is another part. So the things that are related to understanding the people, understanding the human side of the organizations. These are the competencies, and soon we will have many jobs in this field, not on the previous technical parts. Maybe we can improve those technical parts, but the main competency of digital transformation in future is the thing that is related to the soft part of the organization, the people side.
Well, any other questions? Well, the speakers, well, the listeners who would like to ask additional questions? Well, if there are, am I right that there are no questions from the audience? Well, and now I would like to ask Ishar once more to make a short summary of the discussion, some learning outputs of our today's roundtable, please.
Okay, thank you. In fact, I found a very interesting storyline in these presentations. So I will put all of them one after the other, and I hope it can be a very short summary of today's roundtable. In fact, on first presentation by myself, I shared about how we can think about the competencies and skills of this digital transformation era, and how we can pay more attention to the visioning of the future of the organization, having a story about the future. Then we move to another category of presentations, started by a very interesting sharing by Professors Wyszynski and Ilyin, if I pronounce their names correctly. And it was about the opportunities and barriers. When we want to think about this digital transformation, we need to think about these opportunities and barriers in our context, in our country, or in our industry. So it's followed by two other presentations we had from Alexander on pros and cons of this change, and also Artem about the impact of COVID. It is also another perspective about those barriers and opportunities. So threats and opportunities, in fact. So this is the second category, which says to us that we need to pay more attention to these contextual factors. Then we move to another category of sharings that it was about the main important component of digital transformation, the human capital. I think it started with the third presentation by Irina, and it was on the importance of human capital in creative economies. And later we had two more presentations about this related to human capital. One of them was from Yulia Ermakova, if I'm not mistaken, about how we can teach and what we need to teach, and about the convergence learning perspective. And this is very important in developing the human capital. So this is another category of the discussions we had. Then we moved to another level. We moved to a meso level from this level of the macro level. And we had the sharing by Simon. And here on the sharing by Simon, we heard about the creating some new creative industries, about the business ecosystem. So it was another perspective that after those infrastructures, measuring the opportunities and threats, and having the human capital or developing the human capital, we need to move toward developing some new creative industries. It is about the business ecosystem. And finally, we had two presentations about one sample of this business ecosystem, about smart cities by Tatiana and also Irina. Both of them were about the smart cities and how we can use this Industrial Revolution 4.0 tools in order to develop some new creative economics in some sectors, in some business ecosystems, not the whole ecosystem. And I think this was the storyline in our today's roundtable. I will pass the floor to Olga. Thank you.
Thank you, Yashar, very much. And I now would like to give the floor to Elena Valentinovna to say the closing words of our roundtable.
Dear participants, dear friends, I feel we have done a good job. Today's roundtable discussion is very successful. I would like to thank our main speaker, Dr. Yashar Salamzadeh, for your interesting report and all the participants for sharing your ideas. I want to express my gratitude to directors, our branches, for their support. I believe that we'll continue to discuss these hot topics of economy and society. See you next time. Good luck and goodbye.
Goodbye. Heartiest congratulations to all the presenters and participants, as without your support, this roundtable discussion wouldn't have proved to be beneficial to this extent. Goodbye. See you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
So